you think, Mum-Ra? Take that!
Thundercats, Mummer and Lionel with light-up eyes. Thundercats. Each sold separately, new from LJN.
And keep your foot off that blasted Somo-flange.
What the fuck is a Somo-flange?
I have to do that again.
Hello, this is Fu Manchu! Now, you probably noticed that I've been gone for the last few months. Well, blame this faulted time machine. No matter how many times I use the Han Solo technique to try to fix it, it never seems to work right. But I did have a lot of adventures in the last few months, and one in particular led me to the last video store on Earth. And as I saw it in the distance, I went, hey, there's something that I want to rent. And so I went inside there, and I couldn't find what I was looking for. So I walked up to the guy behind the counter, and he said,
"Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Razz Rentals."
And I said, "Hello there, Gary from Razz Rentals. Do you have any Thundercats?" Well, turns out he had a lot of Thundercats. Not only did he rent me the following, every single episode of the original Thundercats cartoon, and I only have to watch all of these episodes in 3 days or suffer late fees. But not only did he rent me all of those episodes, seriously, I don't know how we're going to watch all of those things in 3 days. Oh my God. Anyways, he was such a good salesman, he also sold me the following. Action figures of Lion-O, Tigra, Panthro, Humaira, Groon, Slive, Jackalman, Monkeyin, and if that wasn't enough, Mum-Ra and Mum-Ra the Ever-Living. So, needless to say, I'm officially broke. Man, this is a lot of figures. And the worst part is, since I'm broke, I don't know how we're going to pay those late fees. There's no way I can watch all those cartoons in 3 days. Jeez. But anyways, Razz Rentals actually has his own YouTube page, and I highly recommend watching his videos because, man, they are so entertaining, and you will learn everything you need to know about not only Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, Ghostbusters, man, you name it. This guy is awesome, and I highly recommend checking out his videos. And honestly, the more people I send over there, maybe he'll cut me some slack when I return these DVDs a little late. But anyways, check him out because he's awesome. And he definitely deserves to have way more subscribers than he already does. I mean, there's so many YouTubers out there that have thousands upon thousands of subscribers, and their videos are not entertaining in the least. Well, Razz Rentals, he's one of the good ones, and I cannot recommend him higher. So go subscribe to him, and be sure to tell him Fu sent you. And you know what? I guess since you're here, I can review one of these Thundercats figures, and I'm going to review my favorite Thundercat figure of all time, Jackalman. Yeah, I know he's not a Thundercat. Shut up. Let's go check him out. Today's review will be on the Super 7 Ho? Oh, and look at that little R there next to the 7. If you turn that sideways and squint really hard, well, it's almost a Thundercat symbol. And this is a review for the Thundercats Jackalman figure. And if you look behind Thundercats and Jackalman's name, it says TM for the Mutants. And that's pretty apropos. Now, even though this is my first Super 7 Thundercats figure, this shipper box looks a lot like the Ninja Turtle Super 7 figure shippers. And you know what? This is pretty awesome indeed, because the real box is inside of this one. Now, with the shipper box removed, you get a view of the actual box, and it is awesome. You've got Mum-Ra's symbol right there, the Thundercats logo, and down below that, Jackalman's name. And the way the box is made is exactly like the Ninja Turtle boxes. The black over the red is actually a slip cover, and that is so cool indeed. But yeah, I love that symbol. It looks so awesome. Let's look at the back of the box. Although the back of the box, or at least the back of the slipcover, is kind of plain with just the Thundercats logo there. And I gotta say, having drawn that logo a billion times as a kid, yeah, that's not very easy to draw. And I still highlight letters that way whenever I do block letters. That is pretty awesome. And I've absolutely fell in love with the Thundercat symbol, so much so I had to have a hood ornament from a Mercury Cougar back in the 80s. And you know what? Yeah, it looks just like a Thundercats logo. Down below that, there's not much to see except for contents, one figure with accessories. So let's look at the front of the box one more time. Now, before I remove the slipcover, I noticed something about this Mum-Ra symbol here on the front. It's black and red, and if you focus on both snakes' eyes as if they were one creature instead of two, it looks like the Cobra symbol. Now, does that mean that Mum-Ra was actually an ancestor of Cobra? Was it actually Cobra Ra? Did they change it because it sounded like a bunch of cheerleaders running around going Cobra Ra 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 Ra? Who knows? But you know what? That's pretty awesome, and I want to see that crossover. Now let's look underneath this slipcover. Now, with the slipcover removed, you get a view of Jackalman, and he looks awesome. Now, as you can see, I got a re-release version of this figure with the corrected paint color of the fur of the neck there and on his guns, and this looks so good. Some people are getting like accessory packs where they have to swap out the parts themselves, but this one came like this, and you know what? This is so cool indeed. Let's look at the back of the box. The back of the box has the most awesome piece of Thundercats artwork ever produced. This was made in the 80s and has yet to be outdone. It is absolutely beautiful. And every time I look at this picture, I think of the same story. See, back when the toys first came out, at one point I was walking through a Kmart and I ended up in the shoe section. And in the kids section, they had some Thundercats shoes. And you know how shoes are always like stuck together with that little plastic string? Well, on that string, there was this picture on the tag, and this is the only thing that was on one side of the tag, and man, I really wanted this picture. Needless to say, I didn't get the shoes, but that tag followed me home that day, and I've drawn from it a million times. This is absolutely awesome. Down below that, we get a little blurb about Jackalman, and that is pretty awesome indeed. So let's look at the front of the box one more time. So, here's the front of the box for the very last time because I cannot wait to open this figure. I have been wanting a Jackalman figure ever since Matty Collector first made the Thundercats figures. And man, when I found out that Super 7 would be picking up the line and using a lot of the same molds, I knew I had to have them. But I was a little apprehensive because one, they're expensive, and two, I was afraid, what if they make a few of the figures and then stop, just like Matty Collector did? So, I waited. And then when I found out that they were like on wave 4, I was like, you know what? I think they're going pretty good, and I need to buy some of these. And man, he looks awesome. So I say we waste no more time, and I say we open it!
Thundercats will be back after these messages.
The Sword of Omens, safe in the hands of Lion-O, Lord of the Thundercats, fighting to keep it from Mumra, whose wicked eyes light up with a secret ring. Thundercats take to the Thunder Tank, transforming to resist the evil mutants. Who will win, good or evil? Now you can decide. Thundercats by Rainbow Toys.
And now, back to Thundercats.
So, here's Jackalman fresh out of the package, and I gotta say, this is the figure that I have wanted since the 80s. He looks absolutely amazing. They really captured the look of Jackalman from the cartoon, especially when you consider comparing him to the original figure from the 80s. This one looks so much better. The old one never really looked 100% like Jackalman to me, especially in the head. But man, this one definitely does. Now, is it perfect? No, because it's using that He-Man body. Basically, he could be a lot thinner, but honestly, that's a small complaint. Another complaint I would have is even though he came with 2 heads, I wish he would have came with a head with like a big smile or something, because he's always laughing and junk. It's more like a hyena than a jackal. But you know what? Honestly, this is good enough for me. This looks really good. And just looking at the detail work there of the fur on the face and all over his body, that is awesome. Speaking of the fur, I'm glad I got the, corrected version with the yellow on his neck there and the lighter colored fur there on the shoulder. And I'm so happy I didn't have to swap out the armor piece and stuff. Man, I was not looking forward to that. Because, you get a figure like this and you have to change things out. You're always afraid you're going to break something. And I didn't have to do that. So, whew, that's cool. And honestly, this looks amazing. Looking at him from behind and just look at all that fur on his back, that looks so good. Yeah, I love all the details of this figure, and I love the fact that they're in scale with the He-Man figures and stuff. That is so cool, so you can have a Thundercats He-Man, kind of crossover. That is awesome. As for his accessories, he came with a second head that I thought looked like it was roaring or angry, which it kind of does, but it could also pass for laughing, so maybe I did get my wish and get that head that has the more of a smile to it and stuff. But yeah, this looks pretty good. I think the other head looks more like Jackalman. This one, I don't know, it looks alright, but I like the other head better. But man, that's still awesome to get 2 heads. He also included 2 extra weapon-holding hands, and speaking of weapons, he includes these 3 guns. Now, Razz Rentals goes into a lot of detail about what guns these are and where they're seen in the cartoon, but I could have saved him hours of work by just saying, this is the big gun, this is the little gun, and this is the smaller gun. And you know what? They're all purple. The end. Next Next up, he includes this really long axe, and man, it looks awesome. I love the silver there. It's very shiny, and the axe blade itself looks like it's got a bunch of nicks and dents in it. That is so cool. Last up for his accessories is his pet owl. Now, his pet owl is made entirely of chocolate, and because it's hot on Third Earth, well, you can see he's a little melty. And wait a second, this isn't an owl. This is a club. This is a club that's an homage to the original club that came with the 1985 Jackalman figure, and that is awesome. And sorry about the owl stuff. That's why you should go to Razz Rentals to figure out what these accessories are, because I'm kind of an idiot. Now, because this is an older figure, especially if you consider that Matty Collector one that came out years ago, I'm not going to go into much more detail other than to say I absolutely love this figure. Like I said, Jackalman is my favorite character from Thundercats, and this is the figure I always wanted of him. Man, I'm so happy to get it, and you know what? I highly, highly, highly recommend it, especially if you can get the one with the, improved neck and, the coloring and stuff like that, so you don't have to swap it out yourself. This is cool. So, there's my review of the Super7 Thundercats Ultimates Jackalman figure, and man, this figure is awesome. What a way to start my Thundercats collection with my favorite Thundercats character, and this figure is so cool. And you know what? I'm so happy that I have all of those figures. I haven't even gotten to open them yet, but I don't know if I'll review them or not, because like I said, Razz Rentals does a way better job than I do, and he spends so much time and research figuring out what every weapon and accessory is, and I highly recommend you checking out his videos, especially if you like stuff like these Thundercats figures, because he reviews a lot of stuff. And you know what? I've been entertained with every video he's done. So go check him out. And like I said, be sure to subscribe. And you know what? Until next time, tune in for more food reviews. Finish it off for me, Jackalman.
Hey, this is Nolan North. You don't want to miss Food Reviews. And I'm out.